We kick things off with our hero, who is confronted by a cute and curvy girl. He says that he is from the current village and has reincarnated here to pay a debt from his previous life. The curvy babe doesn't seem to get his intentions, and then our hero says that his hands will be more than enough to get the job done. We soon realize that by this, he means he is going to fight the cute girl, whose name seems to be Lakshal, also known as Laka. She is confused by what our hero is saying, especially when he says he won't need any weapons to complete his task. Anyway, since the boy has decided to show off his strength, she decides to take him on as her opponent and test the power of his fists. This kicks off an intense battle, and the girl charges at him with all her might. It looks like things are going to get interesting, but our hero wins the match simply by using a trick that rips the girl's clothes. The true winners here are his intrusive thoughts, but it's time to go to another scene to get some context. We see our hero in the middle of a void space, and he wonders where he has reached. Suddenly, he hears a voice asking him if he's finally awake. Naturally, this scares him, but when he turns around to see who it is, he is shocked to find a cute and curvy girl who is prettier than anyone he has ever seen. She has an hourglass figure, shiny silk hair, and the beauty of something made from CGI. He is led to believe that this babe is a goddess from Greek mythology, and that's when she confirms that she is indeed a cute goddess. Our hero worries that he has spoken out loud because he doesn't want the goddess to hear his intrusive thoughts. However, she says that boys like him always have the same look on their faces whenever they see her in front of them. The point is that she can read his thoughts, so there's not much our hero can do about it. The goddess takes it a bit too far when she reveals that he has lost his life and is now in front of her. It turns out that his way of leaving his past life was foolish and pathetic, so it takes a lot of skill for her to be able to read the mind of a fool like him. Of course, our hero doesn't like to hear such things, even if they are coming from the mouth of a goddess. However, he also realizes that she's just told him that he has lost his life. As expected, he wants to know more about it, but the goddess only repeats herself by saying his way of going was foolish and pathetic. This isn't helping his case, but he is at the mercy of the curvy goddess, so he wonders what could have led to an untimely demise. He recalls playing a game known as Crossout Saber, which is meant to be enjoyed only by adults. We learn that it is a VR game where our hero likes to fight the boss character, whose name is Laka, just as we had seen earlier. He seemed to like Laka so much that he would keep fighting her to hone his skills. However, it looks like he stepped out of the playing zone, which means he went from virtual reality to actual reality. As a result of him letting his intrusive thoughts take over, our hero banged his head against the wall, and that's what led to his ultimate farewell. The goddess seems to be having fun while saying this because she wants to tell him the state of his body when he passed away. Basically, since he was about to do unspeakable things to Laka, our hero did not go in a decent way and left the backside of his body exposed for everyone to see. It was very hilarious to the goddess, but it turns out that even our hero's parents couldn't stop laughing when they saw his body in such a state. As a matter of fact, even his relatives found it hard to hold back their laughter at his funeral. As expected, this is rather embarrassing for our hero, but there's nothing he can do as the damage has already been done. He falls to the ground and says that he has brought great dishonor to his life, but the goddess is cheerful and tells him that it doesn't matter since he is not alive in that world anymore. He wishes to pass away again, but the goddess only continues to mock him with a cute face. Anyway, she's done with playing around, so she finally reveals her name to be Ina, who is the boss of this heavenly place. It is her job to send miserable people like our hero to a much better place, but her tone clearly suggests that she does not think too highly of him. Ina is not as bad as she seems though, because she offers to reincarnate our hero into another world. What's even better is that this world will be the same one that exists in the VR game that he loves to play so much. He can't believe what he's hearing, so he asks if the goddess is referring to Crossout Saber, and she confirms, much to his delight. Ina also says that he will be given some benefits to an extent so that he can survive there. Our hero realizes that there is only one skill that he needs if he is being reincarnated into this world, so he asks the goddess to give him the power of taming. Ina doesn't seem to have a problem with this, and she says that the tame skill is actually the core of the game itself. This is because taming anyone would mean making them obey your every command while also being happy about it. It's very rare as well, but Ina is a goddess, so she can do whatever she wants. With that, she grants our hero the taming skill, and he becomes determined to live the life he has always wanted to. Now, we finally learn that our hero's name is Wayne, and he finds himself in a rather odd situation. Ina throws herself into his arms and calls him Mr. Reincarnated Soul for some reason. She also says that she's here to see him as she had promised earlier. But Wayne has no recollection of this. Our hero can only call Ina by her name, but even this gets the goddess excited, and she holds on to Wayne as if he is her lover boy. Ina says that she had promised to meet him after he'd grow up a bit, and now that she's here, she wants him to violate her curvy body. This is like a dream come true for Wayne, but as expected, it only turns out to be a dream that shall remain a dream. Our hero wakes up in bed and realizes that he was only having a fantasy about Ina. Now, we learn about what happened to Wayne after he was reincarnated into a new fantasy world. He was given the cheat ability to tame whoever he wanted, but once he was born, he was thrown into a dungeon. This doesn't make sense, because Ina had told him that he was supposed to enjoy his life here. This is how the case was for 18 years, where Wayne could not step outside, even if he wanted to. Now that he's become an adult, he can finally explore the VR game of Crossout Saber in real life. He is really curious to know what life is outside the dungeon because in his previous world, he had willingly kept himself inside his room so that he could play shady games. Now, it makes sense as to why his parents were laughing at his demise. Since he has been forcefully kept inside a dungeon in this world, he really wants to know what kind of fate awaits him outside. So far, all he knows is the name of his village and the fact that both his parents have been exiled in this world. There's also the fact that the villain diviner who had imprisoned Wayne has now gone missing without any trace of his location. It's very unlikely for our hero to escape his prison, so he tries to push the door open, but it's of no use. This is where Wayne realizes that he should have asked for superhuman strength rather than anything else, because with that, he would have been able to break free long ago. It turns out that he has been pushing these walls each and every day for as long as he can remember, but none of those efforts have borne any fruit. All Wayne can do is curse his own foolishness, and he wonders what happened to Ina. The goddess was supposed to help our hero escape the dungeon, but given the fact that she's only cute and curvy, it could be possible that she had forgotten about her promise within 10 minutes. Wayne realizes that Ina is a useless goddess, so there's no point counting on her. Instead, he decides to do some muscle training because it has been giving him experience points to a decent extent. However, before he can do anything else, the ground shakes violently and our hero wonders what's going on. It looks like he's experiencing an earthquake. And then the doors to his room suddenly open up due to the friction. After a hectic sequence, Wayne can see his freedom, which is only a few steps away. He does take a moment to think if this is a trap or something, but it's highly unlikely for that to be the case. After all, the villagers could have taken his life easily if they wanted to, so there would be no point in setting a trap for it. Our hero doesn't know what has led to this situation, but he's not going to let a chance like this slip by, so he quickly makes an exit from his room and steps out into this fantasy world. As he gets out of the dungeon, he can see a cute and curvy girl who has a set of demon horns. She seems to be overpowered as she is wreaking havoc everywhere, and she tells the villagers to run away from here as soon as they can if they want her to spare their lives. Wayne realizes that the demon girl must be the cause of the earthquake, but she seems familiar to him from somewhere. He also notices that she is tossing around the villagers as if they are toy soldiers, so this is why he was able to escape with so much ease. It takes him a few moments to finally recognize the demon girl, and she turns out to be none other than Laka. Wayne calls out her name with excitement and gets her attention, but the demon girl doesn't look too happy to see him. Of course, she was the one our hero was fighting right before he met his hilarious end back on Earth, and we learn that she is quite the demon general. As a matter of fact, she is known as the demon general sword dancer, and is the right-hand woman of the demon lord, who is known as Zerus. Laka takes a look at our hero and confirms her identity, but she clearly does not know who he is, so she asks for his name. Wayne gives his name to her, and is pleased to see that she does exist in this world. Now, our hero wonders why he has met Laka after being stuck as a prisoner for so long. It could be fate that a normal villager like him has now come in front of a demon girl who serves the demon lord. He puts his brain to use, and we learn that he has memorized Laka's stats in his head because of how much he likes her. The demon girl is like the first boss you have to fight at the start of a game, and will mostly lose against. This was why Wayne made sure to learn everything he could in order to tame her and make her his slave girl. Of course, his excitement got the better of him, so he ended up passing away in real life before he could pass away in the game. As of now, he looks at the stats bar and learns that there is a massive difference between his powers and hers. If Wayne is to fight Laka right now, then he is most likely going to be ended. Keeping this in mind, he can't fight her fairly, so he has to activate his intrusive thoughts. So, Wayne decides to celebrate his freedom by making Laka his first prey. He then tells the demon girl that he is going to make her pay for what she did to him in his previous life. He says that he doesn't need any weapons because his hands are enough, and now we realize that everything we saw up to this point was a flashback. Laka has no idea what Wayne is talking about, because this is the first time that she is seeing him. However, since he has openly challenged her to a battle and doesn't need any weapons, she is not going to hold back either. Wayne gladly claims that he is her true opponent and gets ready for her first charge. Since our hero knows what Laka's attack pattern is like, he can dodge her with ease. After that, he uses his ultimate shady move and tears off the demon girl's outfit. Suddenly, his stat bar gives him an alert that states Laka is embarrassed and confused at the same time. He has no idea why he is seeing this because back when he used to play the game on Earth, he never received this kind of message. He assumes that he's receiving it because it's his first time using such a shady attack. Our hero clears Laka's confusion by saying he's the one who made her clothes vanish. So the demon girl asks him what's his motive for doing this. He answers her question with a series of unspeakable acts that cause her to finish. This makes the demon girl's EP reach 0, which means that our hero has won the battle and Laka is now his friend. His intrusive thoughts have actually helped him defeat an overpowered demon general, so he is quite happy with himself. Since he has Laka at his mercy now, he wants to try something different, so he uses his draining skills to absorb all her powers. Wayne is definitely shady, but he is not entirely evil as he does spare Laka's life. The other villagers now rush to the scene and find our hero next to the defeated demon girl. They rejoice upon seeing this and are happy to see that Wayne was able to defeat such an overpowered enemy. However, our hero doesn't care even after confirming that he was the one to defeat Laka. The village men now start celebrating Wayne as their savior and start to treat him like a hero. However, he never wanted this kind of status in the first place and uses his new demon powers to shoo them away. He tells the village men not to get too carried away, because he did not capture Laka out of the goodness of his heart. The village men are shocked to see that he can use magic now, but that's because he has absorbed the demon girl's powers. Anyway, they don't want to mess around, so they say that they did not want to imprison Wayne for so long. As a matter of fact, they blame it all on the villain diviner who had ordered for our hero to be kept as a prisoner. None of that matters to Wayne anymore, because anyone would be annoyed and angered over such a horrible act. The important thing for him now is that he's free and powerful, so nobody can imprison him anymore. With that, he tells the village people to know their place and stay out of his way. Now, Wayne orders one of the village girls to give him clothes for 2 people, which means that Laka is going to be joining him on his journey. The village men ask him if he is going to be leaving with the demon girl, but Wayne tells them that it's none of their business. He tries to be sarcastic by asking his enemies if they want him to pay for spending time in prison for so long, but they don't want to take their chances with him, so they let him leave as he is free to do whatever he wants. Now, Wayne leaves the village with Laka and decides to give himself a bath in a nearby lake. After washing his body, he finally feels like a human again and is glad to experience something nice for once. We learn that after he left the village, Wayne checked his stats to see how far along he's come, but saw that he could not absorb Laka's additional abilities. Even so, it's a great bonus for him to have demon powers, so Wayne isn't too worried about it. After all, absorbing the abilities of the ones you defeat and making them your own is what the power of taming is truly about. Wayne laments that the 18 years of imprisonment he had at the start was a huge waste of time. But at least he has a demon girl as his slave now, so it's a great start to his new journey. Now, Laka wakes up from her pleasurable defeat and tries to figure out where she is. All she can remember is that she was attacking the human village, so Wayne decides to avoid any kind of conflict here. He wishes her a good morning and says that he's glad to see her finally awake. The demon girl takes a look at Wayne and recalls that she was fighting him before she passed out. He confirms this and also reveals that he absorbed her powers after defeating her. Naturally, this comes as a shock to Laka, but Wayne makes it even worse for her by saying she has to become his slave if she wants to continue in this world. Our hero tells us that after taming a character like Laka, he does not know if she will be able to obey his commands even if she is supposed to be his friend now. However, he is sure that she won't attack him or harm him now. What he wishes to see now is how Laka will answer his proposal, but it's not at all like how he had imagined it would be. The demon girl makes a cute face and calls our hero a gentle boy, which is shocking for him to hear. She says that Wayne could have taken her life after defeating her, but instead of that, he has asked her to become his slave, which she considers to be very generous. Wayne is clearly confused, because he knows he is not a kind person, but at the same time, it's a bit of a relief that Laka has interpreted his actions in this way. It doesn't just end here, as the demon girl starts talking about some odd kind of philosophy. She agrees that she should be mad at Wayne for defeating her and absorbing all her powers. But at the same time, she now has a chance to improve herself since she has to start at level 1 again. She even goes on to say that she has been struck by the whip of love, but Wayne is convinced that she is too positive to be a demon girl. To make matters even more hilarious, Laka offers to become Wayne's slave out of her own free will as she wants him to make her his own. Our hero finds it scary that Laka has given herself up to him so easily, but this is just the start as she approaches him with shady intention. She tells Wayne that she does not have any experience, but she is ready to put in her best efforts to offer pleasure to her new master. The demon girl says that Wayne can do whatever he wants to her, and it makes his intrusive thoughts run crazy. However, before he can switch to demon mode and act on his shady intentions, Wayne is left high and dry by his slave girl as she remembers something very important. She says that she is in a tricky spot, so Wayne should get out of the lake and listen to her quickly. Our hero has no other option but to do as she says, and he comments that she is a useless girl in a lot of ways. He wants to know what has happened, so Locke says that she has to go back to her master, who is the demon lord Zerus. Basically, she has to explain everything that has happened so far, and we learn that Zerus is actually a girl. It might be that she has assumed Locke to have passed away and is planning revenge right now. This is why the demon girl has to go back to her master in order to calm her down and stop her from destroying every town in the world. Wayne realizes that it's important for Locke to go meet Zerus even though he is her new master. However, he is a bit shocked to learn that the demon lord of this fantasy world is a woman. On top of that, Locke says that Zerus is a polite and sweet girl as well. This does not make any sense for a demon lord, but Locke maintains that Zerus is a polite woman even though people call her a scary emperor. Wayne sees some truth in what his slave girl is telling him, and now he realizes why Zerus is a girl, since he is living in a world that is set in the VR game he was playing. It will also have the same emperors and demon lords. Since Crossout Saber is a game for adults, it's only natural for it to be filled with cute and curvy girls everywhere, even as the villains. The reason for this is to allow him to do shady things to them for getting in his way. Wayne has figured out what he needs to do, so he tells Locke that he will go with her to meet Zerus. However, he is mindful of the fact that he might have to fight the demon lord if things don't go well between them. Locke doesn't seem to have a problem with that, but our hero feels a bit nervous even though he had easily defeated his slave girl not too long ago. Wayne is now sure that there is something wrong with Locke's head, and he gets further confirmation when she says that she wants her new master to give her old master the same kind of pleasure. With the new mission decided, Wayne takes Locke in his arms and they fly off to the demon lord's castle. Our hero can now spread wings like a bird, and he looks quite graceful while holding his slave girl like an alpha male. Soon enough, Locke can spot the castle, so she tells Wayne about it. Our hero takes one look at the castle and can sense something odd. After all, it's in the middle of the mountains and has giant walls all around it. This actually looks more like a fortress than a castle, so Wayne really wants to explore it now. Locke explains to him that they should lower their altitude because if a demon from the castle spots them, then it will be difficult to explain why they're here. The couple lands on the ground and they make their way forward. Wayne realizes that Locke is not wearing the battle armor that she had on while attacking the village, so he asks her if she is fine wearing commoner clothes. The slave girl seems to be fine with it since everyone will recognize her even if she is wearing different clothes. What's more important is the moment she and Wayne will enter the castle, because she wants her new master to behave a certain way. As expected, our hero is 2 steps ahead of her and says that he will have to act as if he is her slave. This makes the demon girl blush because she is supposed to be Wayne's slave, but is making him behave that way. Our hero has no issues with it, but Locke can't let such an atrocity slide. She says that she is ready to accept any kind of punishment from Wayne once they are done dealing with Zerus. Wayne isn't too keen on punishing his slave girl, but it looks like she wants to be treated like a bad girl. It leads to our hero having a hilarious look on his face. So he tries to prevent his intrusive thoughts from taking over and asks Locke to lead the way for now. A demon girl behaving this way is extremely strange, so Wayne wonders if he has shifted her gears out of place after giving her such intense pleasure. After all, Locke was an innocent demon girl before Wayne unleashed his shady moves on her. She didn't even have this kind of personality in the VR game, so something is clearly different. Anyway, Locke seems to be a loyal and faithful slave girl, so Wayne feels that he will get along with her just fine. Now, someone calls out to Locke and it turns out to be a slime girl named Slana. The slave girl is glad to see Slana and she explains that she and her new master are on the way to see the demon lord. But Wayne wonders what a slime girl's body feels like. He goes on to perform unspeakable acts on Slana and learns that she can transform her body freely, which means that the sensitivity of her nerves are linked and can be felt throughout her slimy body. Our hero calls out Slana for having a shady body, so she starts crying about it, even though he meant it in a good way. Of course, Wayne figures that he could have worded his sentence a bit better because he thinks the slime girl's body is perfect. He did not want to hurt her feelings, so he asks Slana if she would like to come with him and be his experiment. He offers her a reward, which is to fill her slimy body with his own slime. Slana starts to cozy up to Wayne, but Locke has other ideas in mind. She tells Slana that she wants her to protect the outer part of the castle since there is no need to worry about the defense over here. The slime girl is a bit confused to hear Locke talk like this, but the slave girl is clearly jealous of the attention Wayne is giving her. Slana says that she is the gatekeeper, so guarding the outside area doesn't make sense to her. However, Locke says that she doesn't want Slana to rub her slimy body all over her master because that's not what her job is supposed to be. The slave girl is clearly upset over the slime girl sticking so close to Wayne, so she activates demon mode and tells Slana to get out her sight as soon as possible. Slana starts to cry again over this behavior, but in a cute way, so Locke sends her off, much to Wayne's dismay. After all, he wanted to explore the slime girl's body in great detail with his shady intentions. Our hero asks his slave girl why she acted in such a way, but she simply hugs him from behind and holds him close to her curvy body. She says sorry for not noticing how his intrusive thoughts were taking over, and she wants to help him relieve his body. With that, she puts her hand where every man would want it and proceeds to offer some heaven on earth. Locke asks Wayne not to move because she wants her master to experience full relief. Our hero isn't sure of what to do in this situation, but then he hears a loud roar coming from the skies. It turns out to be an army of dragons that are flying right above the couple. That's when Wayne comes back to his senses and tells Locke not to do anything shady in front of the dragons. He also tells her that she can hold off on the appetizers until the main course is ready to be served. The slave girl obeys her master and then takes him inside the demon lord's castle. It's quite vast and luxurious, so it takes some time for the couple to make their way forward. Locke tells Wayne that it shouldn't be long before they reach the demon lord's throne and she should be awake by now as well. Our hero prepares for the worst, but his slave girl says that she hopes everything ends well between him and Zerus. After all, she is hoping for the demon lord to bless her relationship with her master, since the both of them have been friends since childhood. This fact intrigues Wayne, so Locke tells him that she has been serving Zerus ever since they were little girls. It turns out that Zerus had always wanted to become the demon lord even when she was a child, so Locke made sure to help her achieve this dream. Such a position can only be obtained with true strength, so there were a lot of battles back in the day. This was still when Locke and Zerus were kids, so Wayne shows some sympathy to his slave girl. After all, she did have a rough childhood, so she does deserve some warmth and affection. Their romantic moment comes to an end when they feel a slight tremor, and Wayne wonders where it's coming from. Suddenly, a giant monster with a bald head shows himself and seems glad to see Locke back at the castle. Wayne seems to recognize this monster and even calls him by his name, Giga. Locke tells Giga that she and her master are here to meet the demon lord, so he should not get in their way. However, the bald monster has no intention of letting this slide so easily, and he says that he is going to take over her position as the right-hand woman of Zerus. Basically, Giga is jealous of Locke and wants to defeat her, so he tries to attack the demon girl. Locke does not want her master to be a part of her quarrel, so she asks Wayne to step back. Locke is ready to take Giga on as her opponent, but our hero simply laments the fact that there are still disputes over positions in this castle, even after all the wars that had to be fought for the throne. Giga launches a wind attack on Locke and she is blown away because Wayne has absorbed all her powers. Realizing this, our hero figures that his slave girl won't be able to keep up with the bald monster. He rushes towards Locke and rescues her from getting whacked by the wind attack. He holds her in his arms and it leads to a romantic moment as Wayne asks Locke if she is alright. Our hero has had enough of these silly games, so he puts Locke on the side and decides to end this fight once and for all. He rushes towards Giga and calls him ugly to provoke the bald monster. Giga warns Wayne not to interfere with him because this fight is between him and Locke. However, our hero doesn't have time to play with him, so he goes straight for the head and flicks the bald monster to his defeat. It's a rather surprising attack that gets the job done in a single second, so Wayne can now tend to Locke once again. It's clear that Giga won't be able to get up again, so the bald monster won't be challenging anyone for any position soon. Locke is so taken over by her master's bravery that she hugs him and proclaims her love for him in the most extreme fashion. Wayne simply says that he was just trying to test his powers, but his slave girl wants to live out the fantasy of her master saving her life. She says that she's grateful to serve such a wonderful man, and she is the luckiest girl in the world. She then goes off saying she wants Zerus to experience this happiness as well. However, our hero is well aware of who he is, because he had used Locke's powers to defeat Giga in the first place. Now that all the dangers and obstacles have been cleared, it's finally time to go meet the demon lord. Locke shows her master the door to Zerus's throne, so he walks through it with her. Locke happily greets the demon lord and apologizes for making her worry about her absence. We see Zerus, but she is shown to be a small demon girl who looks cute rather than dangerous. She is pleased to see her friend safe and sound, but is also shocked to see Wayne with her. Zerus asks Locke what's the meaning of this, but our hero is more focused on the fact that he has to overcome her to attain the power of a demon lord. Locke asks her master if he finds Zerus to be cute and he confirms that he does like the way she looks. The slave girl continues to talk about how Zerus is cute and powerful, but not too curvy. Even then, Locke believes that Zerus is the only one fit to be the demon lord, but she gets cut off by Zerus, who looks rather annoyed. She wants to know what happened to the village that Locke was supposed to take care of. And more importantly, she can't feel the demon girl's powers anymore. On the other hand, she can feel an absurd amount of power coming from Wayne, so Zerus is a bit suspicious of what's going on over here. Wayne figures he's been found out, so he tells Locke there's no point in hiding the truth anymore. The slave girl is a bit reluctant to play along, but Zerus wants to know exactly what our hero has done to her best friend. She threatens Wayne to give her an honest answer, and she will decide how much mercy to show him once she hears the truth. Before she can do anything to our hero, Zerus is stopped by Locke, who says that she will explain the whole thing to her. The slave girl then hilariously goes on to say that she has chosen to become Wayne's personal property. As expected, this makes Zerus show a confused face, and even our hero doesn't know how to react to this. To explain the situation better, Locke reveals that she had fought against Wayne, but lost to him rather easily. However, she also adds the fact that he took off all her clothes and did unspeakable things to her curvy body. This only makes matters worse, as Zerus has no words to explain how she's feeling after this. This is not the end just yet, because the slave girl continues her speech by saying her master showed her what true heaven feels like, and absorbed all her powers after that. She adds that Wayne chose not to take her life and offered to make her his follower, which is why she has given her body to him and has become his slave girl. There is an awkward silence after all these revelations, and Wayne has nowhere left to go. He knows that Locke has spoken the truth, so he acts cool and casual for now. Zerus asks him to confirm his name again, and then she asks him to listen to one of her requests. As expected, the request is for Wayne to allow himself to be ended by the Demon Lord as she launches an ultimate attack on him. Our hero is able to dodge the attack with ease, but he's not going to be let off so easily. Zerus is not at all pleased with what she has just heard, and she believes that Wayne is just a creep who has violated Locke's precious body. It is not wrong of her to think of such a thing, because our hero is quite proud of his actions. The Demon Lord promises to use her lightning powers to burn him to a crisp, and an intense battle gets underway. Wayne picks up Locke and takes her to safety, but also asks her why a small girl like Zerus is being so crazy with her powers. The slave girl has no idea why her old master is being this way, because she only knows her as a sweet, cute girl. Clearly, this was not the correct assessment of her character, and now Wayne has to take care of the Demon Lord. Locke insists that there must be some kind of misunderstanding, so she asks her master to allow one more chance for her to explain everything to Zerus. Our hero doesn't have time to take such a risk because his slave girl has already explained the whole situation to the Demon Lord, and that too in great detail. Zerus is angry, but she still looks cute thanks to her petite body, so Locke asks her once more to stop with her attacks. The slave girl repeats that she was not violated by her master, but rather received a love that she has never received before. Zerus is not going to listen to any more stories of love, so she tells Locke to stop with her nonsense. The Demon Lord is ashamed to see how her right-hand woman allowed her flower to be plucked by a commoner boy, so Locke tries to apologize for her actions. However, she also says that she was not able to resist the charm that Wayne brought with him, coupled with the kindness he showed by sparing her life. Basically, it looks like Zerus is not going to understand anything even if Locke tried her best to do so. The Demon Lord is fine with that, and she is ready to blast Wayne to pieces in order to wake up Locke from her trance. The slave girl worries for her master, but our hero doesn't care about Zerus and her threats. He asks Locke to stay behind for now, because he was always planning to fight the Demon Lord right from the start. The slave girl wants to know how Wayne is going to win against the Demon Lord, and he simply says that he will do the same thing to Zerus as he had done to Locke. She seems to be fine with that. And then the encounter begins. Wayne knows that he won't be able to launch a frontal attack by using Locke's powers, because Zerus will be able to counter him. He needs to find a way to use his taming skills. So he gets to work and forms a plan in his head. The Demon Lord calls out to Wayne and says that it's too late for him to come up with any sort of strategy. Suddenly, there are spider webs all over the place, and Wayne becomes a bit confused upon seeing this. That's when Locke explains that these are actually threads which Zerus had inherited from the thread demon Alkin through his blood. This is a cause for concern, because our hero knows how useful this skill is. Zerus can sense her victory coming soon, and she challenges Wayne to take her on instead of just standing there. However, Wayne doesn't want to act on impulse, so he confirms with Locke that Alkin is a hybrid monster who's half man and half spider. Since Alkin can produce threads through his fingers, even the Demon Lord will have the same ability. But Wayne has some other thoughts in his head. They have to do with the way he used to play the game back on Earth, and he wonders how he should handle a demi-human based on his experience. His slave girl doesn't know why he's zoning out this way, so she asks if he's alright. Luckily, there's nothing to worry about, as our hero says that he is going to refer to Zerus as Spider Girl from now on. Locke is fine with that name, but she feels like her master is only doing all of this to make Zerus even angrier, which is definitely what's happening from the looks of it. The Demon Lord launches another finisher move on Wayne and curses him for trying to make fun of her lineage. Our hero dodges the attack with ease, but his slave girl asks him to be more careful moving forward. She explains that Zerus likes to use 3 kinds of threads when she is in battle mode. There's sticky threads, decapitation threads, and hard threads, so Wayne has some variety to deal with. His feet are caught in some kind of thread already, and the Demon Lord uses it to smack him to the ground. Laka is worried for her master, but Wayne is only slightly upset because he could feel a little pain. Zerus is pleased with her attack, and now she feels that she has the advantage. Wayne tries to cut off the thread with Laka's sword, but even that doesn't seem to work. He finds himself in quite a spot, and Zerus tells him that she will not take his life so easily. The Demon Lord wishes to torment our hero till he meets his end, which is a savage way to deal with him. Of course, it's not like Wayne cares about what she has to say, so he asks his slave girl to lend him her sword for a bit. He then asks her to step away for a bit because he is about to use a power move. Our hero unleashes the enchanted airstrike and manages to get rid of the thread attached to his leg. Naturally, this shocks Zerus, who can't believe that someone has been able to destroy her hard thread with such ease. Wayne explains to us that the Spider Girl's thread has elements of the earth in it, which was why he decided to counter it with a wind element spell. After all, he simply utilized a type weakness. But there's no time to discuss such things because he still needs to defeat the Demon Lord. He mocks her by stating she won't be able to torment him now, and he's an impatient man anyway, so he's going to end this quickly. Zerus is not going to go down without a fight, so she unleashes a lightning strike, but it's of no use. Wayne uses a cyclone counter and hops to the top while also teasing the Demon Lord, calling her slow. Now, Wayne unleashes his demon wings and charges at Zerus with his arrow strike. He proudly proclaims this to be his victory and attacks the Demon Lord with his taming move. It's a direct hit, and after the dust settles, we can see that our hero has done to Zerus what he had done to Laka as well. The Demon Lord takes a moment to figure out what just hit her, because she hasn't seen a move like this ever before in her life. Of course, she realizes that her outfit has been ripped off, so she becomes angry and it shows on her stats bar. Zerus screams at Wayne with rage and calls him out for trying to violate her just like Laka. She states that she will never forgive him for this and will make sure that he will meet his end. Wayne simply looks at her with a smile on his face and says that she should calm down for now. After all, the real fun is just about to begin. Before he can have his fun, our hero decides to give us a quick recap on how things have gone so far. Basically, it all started when he met with a funny accident while playing a shady VR game for adults. After that, the goddess Ina helped him get a second chance at life by reincarnating him into the world of the very same VR game he liked. He was imprisoned for around 18 years and managed to break free thanks to an attack by the demon girl Laka. He ended up defeating her with a taming skill that he got from Ina. This turned Laka into his slave girl, and then she guided him to the current demon lord of this fantasy world, known as Zerus, who is nothing more than a cute girl. He ends up fighting her and wins the match without really breaking a sweat. Now that we're all caught up, it's time to go back to the present where Wayne is planning how to act out his intrusive thoughts. We are shown a quick glimpse of all the main characters and their stat bars, after which we see Zerus still trying to threaten Wayne. She continues to say that she will end his life, but our hero simply asks her to calm down for a bit. He takes a look at his stats bar and notices that Zerus is now at the highest level of rage. This is not exactly good news for Wayne because the Demon Lord gets a higher attack power when she is angrier. He does get some leeway though, as this also means that her other stats get lower during this time. Zerus has had enough of the humiliation, so she charges at our hero after activating her demon rage mode. She has a scary face as she asks Wayne if he has any last words, but he is not concerned by any of this. Zerus tries a punch, but misses because her accuracy and evasion skills have dropped due to her rage. Wayne takes advantage of this and tells the Demon Lord that she will never be able to defeat him now. This only angers her further, but then Wayne spanks her and can see that his technique has worked like a charm. He just needed one touch to get the job done, so he knows he's going to have some fun now. Of course, Zerus is still angry, so she keeps challenging Wayne and orders him to be ended as soon as possible. Wayne can only look at her with a confused face, and then he decides to give her a taste of her own medicine. He grabs the cute Demon Lord and states that she has been quite rude to him this entire time. He calls her a bad girl, which means that she should be punished for her actions. Zerus is not backing down just yet, so she tries to punch Wayne at close range, but doesn't do much damage. She just looks like a cute toy at this point, but our hero does admit that she still has a little power left in her even though he just drained most of it with his spank. The Demon Lord does not like the fact that she is being treated this way, but Wayne decides to give her an even harsher punishment now. He begins to spank her in hilarious fashion, and it's quite the sight as he says that he will now teach the naughty Demon Lord the spank of love. He is not going to stop anytime soon because he's clearly enjoying this as well. It's rather disgraceful for Zerus to be treated this way. even though she is the demon lord, and Wayne agrees that he's basically just experimenting with the spanking. However, our hero notices that Zerus seems to like what he's doing to her, so he now knows her deep, dark secret. He tells the demon lord that if she wants him to stop, then she will have to say something out loud, so she asks him what it is. He teases her by stating that she will need to beg him to stop in cute fashion. But this does not have the kind of effect he was hoping for. Zerus screams at our hero and ridicules him for even considering the fact that she would stoop so low. She declares that she will never do such a thing to the likes of a common man like Wayne. Even it means having to forsake her own life. None of her words affect our hero, and he only comments that she is a hopeless demon lord with no sense of manners. He now has a much better idea on how to deal with Zerus, but she thinks it will be a worthless effort. She demands him to put her down right this instant, but he says that he would have done it anyway and not because she is telling him to. He uses the demon lord's own threads against her and notices that his shady technique has been boosted by it. At the same time, Zerus continues to say that she is going to take Wayne's life because he is a lowly human. Wayne has had enough of fooling around, so he uses his ultimate finisher move and then he checks his stats bar. He sees the same statements that he had seen when he satisfied Locke, and the stats bar shows that Zerus has now become his friend since her EP is now 0. Our hero tells us that he now considers his life to be worthwhile even though he was treated as a prisoner for the first 18 years. Now that he has finally seized the demon lord, he has truly become an ultimate hero in this fantasy world. In the middle of his thoughts, Locke calls out to Zerus and checks up on her. The demon lord is not waking up, so Wayne wonders if he overdid it and gave her too much to enjoy. Luckily, Zerus is still alive and Locke hugs her with joy because what she saw was truly amazing from her master. With the demon lord also in his harem, he has now moved on from 1 to 2 slave girls, which makes Locke oddly happy. Wayne once again comments on how odd Locke is as a demon girl, especially when she says that if she and Zerus leave the demon army, then the both of them can still be his slave girls. None of this makes any sense to him, so he just pretends not to have heard what she said. Zerus is basically resting now, so it's time for Wayne to use his draining powers on her as well. He unleashes his ultimate attack and gains the power of the demon lord. His body glows with a new energy and he realizes how amazing Zerus truly is, even though she could not match up to him. Wayne rejoices over the fact that he now has the power of the demon lord, and he will make much better use of it than Zerus ever could. Locke is also happy for her master even though he just drained her best friend's powers as if they were nothing. He feels charged up, so he lifts Locke into his arms and declares that no one will be able to get in his way now. As expected, his slave girl congratulates him and says that she will follow him all the way for the rest of her life. The couple is happily enjoying the moment, but then we see that Zerus has woken up from her defeat. She calls out to them and says that she can't use her powers anymore. Wayne is surprised to see her awake so soon, and the demon girl admits that she never knew a human like him could absorb her ultimate powers with so much ease. Wayne acts cool as a cucumber and tells her that the system works this way with him. He also tells her that she is his slave girl now, so she better get used to following orders. He mocks Zerus and says that she won't be able to do what she wants anymore. At the very least, she won't be able to attack him anymore since she is now his slave girl. Zerus has to come to terms with reality, because her body is not responding to her, but she still can't understand why this is happening. That's when Locke hugs her and says that she has fallen in love with her new master just like her. Of course, the demon girl does not want to admit this, but it's the truth. Zerus is angry, so she asks Locke why she allowed herself to become the slave of a shady boy with intrusive thoughts running all over his veins. Locke simply says that there's something more important than pride, and it's known as love. Of course, these are just her own intrusive thoughts coming to life, and she says that it's wonderful for her to feel such a thing for the first time. Zerus is totally dumbfounded. And even Wayne doesn't recall telling his slave girl anything about love. How is our hero going to make use of his new ultimate powers? Is he going to enjoy shady acts with both Locke and Zerus now? Like, share, and subscribe to find out in the next video. Hit the bell icon to get notified when I upload part 2. See you soon.